What's up, guys? We're gonna do a Paw Paw forage trip today. We are here in Tennessee, this place called Percy Warner Park, and it's in the middle of August, kind of early for most places. But I actually found on Instagram, which I find is a really great tool for you search up the hashtag of the fruit, the mushroom you're looking for, and look at all the people who are posting pictures. Just make sure they're posting pictures of stuff they found. And I did find people in this area that were finding ripe pawpaw fruit. And I know I came here last year, but it was a little bit later in the season, so we'll see if we're going to find any today. I think we will. So I just walked onto the trail and immediately saw pawpaws in this area. They're kind of everywhere as an understory plant, so I'm going to show you what they look like. You can see to the right, medium-sized pawpaw tree. You can actually see some small pawpaws on it right in the center of your screen there. And the way to tell, like the first giveaway is the big fat wide leaves that are, a lot wider than the other leaves next to it. And it doesn't look like any other tree. Okay, so as we're walking here, I figure might as well talk a little bit about how to find pawpaws. I'm walking downhill. I find in the more moist areas, the stands like what you're seeing here, all around you, are, you're more likely to find the pawpaws where it's moist and low, as opposed to like high on ridges and stuff. But at the same time, if you want ones with good fruit set, looking around, I don't see a ton of fruit on these particular trees, but we'll give them a shake and see what happens. You're going to want to find a place that has shade, but also part sun, because pawpaws can grow in the shade, but they fruit in the sun. Nope, just a stick fell on that one. So one common characteristic I notice when identifying pawpaw trees is many times if they don't have adequate light, they'll curve and they'll go sideways. As you can see, this one here bends off to the right to kind of gain as much sunlight as possible. There's other trees that I've seen on this trail that are bending at a 45-degree angle. But more often than not, they're doing this kind of like sideways bend. And then the big fat leaves is a good giveaway as well. And as you can tell, bugs like eating the leaves, so they're great food for wildlife, both for the fruit and also for the leaves that bugs eat and then turn into birds. There were a few fruit up in that tree there, and I actually shook the tree and a few came out. These are fairly small, but they're ripe. This is kind of what they look like. Even though they're ripe, or most of them are ripe, they still have that green color. Some varieties will turn more yellow, but these kind of stay their green color the whole time. So I couldn't resist and broke open one of the small ones that was ripe, and I've been chewing on some of the pulp, and there's some seeds left in it. And I've been kind of throwing the seeds to the side to plant some more pawpaws. The flavor is pretty sweet. A lot of different flavors going on. Actually back in my backyard now, I'm going to show you some pawpaw trees that I've got growing and how they look a little different. So for example, I've got a couple planted here. This one's doing really well. Looks very different from what we saw. And that could be for two reasons. One of them being that I ordered these from a nursery. They were field grown, 1-year-old plants at the time when I purchased them. And I planted them about 2 years ago. And so this is south, and so it gets shaded naturally from this fence, and they seem to really like that. They get plenty of direct sunlight, and then also for a few hours of the day, and then the rest of the day they're getting part shade, full shade as well. So this one's growing perfectly straight, which is very different from the ones we saw in the forest. That one split a little bit. This one's splitting as well, but for the most part it's very straight. It's got the leaves on either side. So it's interesting to see how the different light conditions cause it to grow in a different pattern. There's another one here that's kind of growing in a similar way, although not as tall as the first one we looked at. Pawpaws are really easy to grow. It's something that it's native. It provides food in the leaves for insects, which then feed the birds. And then also they provide the fruit. Speaking of fruit, we've got some blueberries growing here. This is my back forest garden area. And I planted at the exact same time as I planted the first ones we looked at. I planted this one here, which looks much more similar to the ones we saw in the old growth forest. And so you know, even though this one is getting a little bit more light because there's less canopy cover, there still is a decent amount of canopy cover from this walnut tree. So they get pretty much shade for most of the day. And all of the same ones that we looked at over there are the same exact, were grown from the same stock. So there's another one in the center of the screen. I think I have 3 going on back here. Can't quite spot the, probably need to weed back here a little bit. But there is another one growing too. So, and they all kind of look more similar to the forest grown ones. So I think it really does have to do with the light conditions that causes them to grow different. And I'll continue to do more videos showing the difference between the 3 I've got in the front of the forest garden, the 3 back here, and show how they're growing differently. I suspect that, you know, the ones in the front are going to grow a lot quicker and are going to fruit sooner and have more and bigger fruit on them. But we'll see. I may graft them as well, so which would kind of stunt the growth and make me have to wait another year or 2 before they fruit, but we'll still be able to see the comparisons between the 2. So, okay, one more thing I wanted to show you before I end the video. I said I would show you what the pawpaws look like on the inside. So this is one that we picked today. This one was fairly soft when I harvested, because typically when you harvest pawpaws, they don't continue to ripen. That's what it's said in the literature, but I have found pawpaws, hard ones that you either pull off the tree or that fall off the tree, will get softer with time if they're left in like a warmish environment. But this one was soft, squishy. I don't know if you can kind of see, it gives the pressure. Kind of feels like a really ripe persimmon. So this one should be ready to eat. I'm going to give this a cut. Hopefully it's good on the inside. I'm hitting some seeds. So there you can see some of the flesh. It's pretty juicy, as you can tell. The seeds come off pretty easily. They're kind of in a little envelope of pawpaw pulp. So I'm gonna place the seeds aside. Kind of just like, with one this small, I kind of just like give it a squeeze and drink it, or suck out the pulp a little bit. Really good, really tropical tasting, sweet, very juicy, very refreshing. Okay guys, so that's my video. Closing thoughts are that I've tried a lot of fruit in my day, both wild forage fruits and also cultivated domesticated fruits. And nothing's quite like pawpaw, except, I mean, maybe like the cherimoya, like we were talking about, the guanabana. But especially for native fruits, there's nothing like pawpaw, native to the US. So I definitely think people should try it. For me, in terms of just overall like eating experience, I still prefer things like mangoes and peaches more, just because I feel like you can eat more of them, and they're just a cleaner taste to them. Pawpaws, at least the wild ones, have kind of this peppery aftertaste. There might be other varieties that are even better. I will be trying to go to the Paw Paw Festival in Ohio this year, and I'll be able to try all the cultivated varieties as well. But for right now, the wild pawpaws, they taste good, nice to have every once in a while. They don't make my top list of fruits, but I definitely recommend people go out and forage, because it's really fun, and you know, it's rewarding, and they're great to try. And I want to make like a pawpaw ice cream someday and maybe do a video about that. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Go ahead and subscribe and like this video if you want to see more. And I will see you next time with more pawpaw videos and more foraging videos and all sorts of things like that. Thanks, bye-bye.